Welcome back to the channel, Crypto Trend Trader, with a quick update on Bitcoin. But before we get started, I'd like to remind you it's not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. These markets are extremely volatile, so please do your own research and trade responsibly. Alright, so basically not much has changed over the last couple of days. We are essentially just trading within the same range that we had identified between the blue line here and the red line here. And we've basically just been ping-ponging inside of it. Took a short at the top of the range and a long at the bottom of the range. But now we are essentially squeezing into, we're in this gigantic downward sloping channel. We're towards the bottom of the channel, but as time goes on, we'll move towards the top of the channel without the price going up because it's descending. So essentially, if we just stay here long enough, we'll get forced down by the channel. So what's happening right now is we essentially bounced back down here and came all the way to the bottom of the channel, but this descending trend line has been holding us down or forcing us down inside of the channel. So there's essentially like a sharper descending trend line inside of our descending channel, and that line has been acting as resistance. So we came up and tagged it a couple different times, but every time we got up there we sold off, and then we even tried to bust over it once and got a wick above it here and then sold back off again. And now as you see, I have like the green, yellow, orange, and all that does is like simulate like a basically like a parabola. So you're taking like the low here, and I mean, you could even do one more from there, but you're essentially taking like the low and then another low, the low, and then another low, and then again you're taking low and then another low, and you're always going from left to right. And essentially what you're looking for is to see, is the slope getting stronger or is the slope getting weaker, obviously. So as we can see in this example, the slope is getting weaker. So it was strong here to the upside, and then it started slowing down, and now the orange line represents, essentially we've leveled out. We're putting in like the same low now as where we were putting in higher lows. So now what we would expect to happen later is, or next is, if we don't break above this right here, it's going to force us down, and there's nowhere else to go. So we're going to put in a new low. Matter of fact, let me get this out of the way here. So we're going to go down here and put in a new low. So essentially we're squeezed down into this point again where we have to make that decision. Now does that mean we can't break out of this channel and move to the upside? Nope, not at all. I mean, not at all. Like the obviously like the purple channel that we're inside of is stronger than this red trend line that's been forcing us down. But as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, if you count that as just 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, if you just count that as 1, but you essentially have 8 different times over, like, what is that, since October 26th. I mean, so that's a long time that trend line's been acting as resistance. So, could it break this time? Yeah, it's possible. Is it likely? No, not at all. The likely scenario is that, it continues to act as resistance until the one time that it doesn't. And, what's the chance this is going to be that one time? Not very much. Now, given the situation and how long price has been getting forced down and the fact that we're consolidating here, is it possible that we get to move to the upside and get that confluence we were talking about, essentially like the breakout to the top of the range? Yes, I definitely think that's a possibility. Is it the most likely scenario right now? Not necessarily. Could this scenario still play out where we essentially got like an Adam and Eve bottom? Yeah, it's possible, because essentially this could be the atom, and then, matter of fact, let me draw this out. Now, I'm not saying that it's 100%, you know what I mean? But it's definitely a possibility, still, because essentially all you're looking at is, put it that way. Essentially all you're looking at is this would be like your breakdown point, and you would be looking for basically like this scenario to play out here. And then you would have essentially this is your atom, and then this would be your Eve, obviously. And in this scenario, what you would expect to happen is, if we came back up here and we broke through basically the line that forms like the neckline or the resistance of the Adam and Eve pattern, we would expect to get our measured move. And the measured move is just the distance from the head of the atom or of the triangle to the end. So basically, that's what we're looking at this point in time. As far as I see it, and again, this pattern is not valid until it plays out, but you can't play a pattern if you wait until it plays out and then you play it. Like, once you break above the neckline, you could buy that, but now you're buying a breakout. If you're buying down here, seeing this pattern and seeing the double bottom, and seeing the potential breakout of this range, anywhere inside of here, if you get a close outside of this resistance, you're a way better position in my opinion, than buying the breakout of this right here, because that's where it could easily get faded. As we're here, it's likely to at least play out to the neckline. So, but again, this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. These markets are extremely volatile. We are getting on balance volume is still trending to the downside. VPCI is not getting much of anything going on. I mean, it's moving to the upside right now. Saying that we're going to potentially continue up. We are getting the flip on volatile explosion to green volume, and potentially going to go above the explosion line here, and possibly move the slope back into the blue area, signaling a potential long trade and continuation. So, and it does look like the market's picking up a little bit of strength here on the 4-hour now. I'm not ready to get completely bullish on this thing by any means, but again, we're basically just trading the range at this point in time. I mean, that's all you really can do. We've been inside of this range with the exception of that one stab down here, that little fake out. We've been trading inside this range now, for a couple months. I mean, right? Is that right? What, yeah, November 22nd, we said. So, what? We're coming up on a month now. Coming up on a month inside this range. Just basically, what? We got one stab down, one stab up, one stab down, one stab up, one stab down. I mean, potential for a stab up, even if the range doesn't break. The downward sloping, resistance line could potentially break. If the range does break, or the downward sloping resistance breaks, we could at least move up to the heart line right here and then potentially get rejected and move to lower prices. But I mean, we really only have like a few key areas in mind on this chart. We may have a couple extra lines in here, but we know exactly what those mean and what's most important. As you can see with this fib level right here as well, we pulled back down, we hit the 618, we tested all the way back up, not quite to the top, and then we came back down to the 618. So typically what happens in a situation like this, we come down, hit the 618, come up, we put in a lower high, come down, hit the 618 again. So it's much less likely if we just already tagged this fib level, tried up, failed, that we're all of a sudden just going to try up and break out of it. But again, that's trading against the trend. Everybody wants to be a reversal trader and pick the bottom, but in all actuality, like, it's just not really the best strategy, and it's not nearly as profitable as just taking trend following like directional trades. My next real big trade is from up here. I'm looking to take a short from like the 9200 region. Again, that's not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor, but I'm trying to short the top of the channel again. It's been working. It worked, what, 1, 2, 3. You don't want to count that one as the top, but I shorted that too. 4, 5. I mean, we'll see how it all plays out. But at this point in time, it looks like more of the same to me. We are showing a little bit of strength here, and we're starting to curve and get like that little like like I said, the little Eve looking bottoming patterns kind of playing out here a little bit. But I wouldn't get too excited about this thing just yet. I mean, there's a lot can still happen. And the safe play here is to assume it's going to continue going down until it doesn't. So at this point in time, I have to say, bearish overall. Taking some swing trades or some scalp trades inside of the range. We are near at the bottom of the range right now, so obviously the potential is much better to take a trade in this range over here, 8% than it is to versus 4%. So we're much closer to the bottom than we are to the top. So ideally, if you're going to take a trade inside of a range, not taking into account the direction down of the overall trend, obviously you want to take it closer to the bottom of the range. So well, there you have it, crypto trend trader, not financial advice, not your financial advisor. Quick market update. Have a great day.